Alright guys, I'm back for the news and let's get into it. So, I know I said I wouldn't talk about the whole Microsoft Activision court case with the FTC and Sony, but it's kind of the only thing that's been going on the last couple days, and there's actually honestly a lot of good stuff that's coming out of it. But yeah, so the closing arguments were today for the 5th day of the court case. I'm not able to get into those as much, but it looks like Microsoft has a good chance to win from what I've seen. As I've said before, I don't really care if Microsoft gets Activision or gets the Call of Duty, but that's just me. Effectively, it wouldn't make much difference to me, but that's just me. But there was a lot of good stuff that came out of this court case. I'll have to say that, from confirming that there is going to be a next gen Switch. So yeah, save your money. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's wild. Bioware confirms undisclosed number of layoffs as Star Wars: The Old Republic moves to the new developer. So that Star Wars: The Old Republic game, you know, it done by Bioware. It's getting moved under a new. Me and my brother play this one, but it's getting moved under a new developer. Yeah, the agreement sees Star Wars: The Old Republic handed over to the current Ultima Online, a Dark Age Camelot developer, Broadsword Online, which is run by former Mythic Entertainment co-founder and BioWare VP Rob Denton, who previously worked on Star Wars: The Republic in its early days. So basically, they just want to... the game's pretty much already fully done. It's been years, expansions, and supported for years. It's just, like, basically continuing the live service, which is mostly all you can ask for at this point for this one. At the time, IGN reported 70 to 80 people were part of the core development team to the Old Republic, more than half of whom were expected to move to Broadsword. No big change comes with the challenges, Mackey said. Among them is the fact that most of the current team will be invited to accompany the game on its move to Broadsword, though unfortunately not every role will make the move. This is the hardest part of this transition, and these decisions were not made lightly. We are, of course, doing everything we can to support the affected team's members who have an opportunity to find new roles within EA. In the long run, though, we are confident that this is the best decision for the game and its community. We at BioWare will miss being a part of Star Wars: The Old Republic's story going forward, but we also know that it will be in very good hands. So, yeah, how old is this game, actually? Hold on, let me look it up. Because I played it for a long time. I played it in the early days, and I dropped off of it for a long time. The game came out in 2011, so that's going on 14 years now? Okay, that's wild. So Final Fantasy 16 sold 3 million copies during launch week. Solid start. I'm actually playing it right now. It's actually pretty good. Although I can see how people are calling it linear with the way the game works. You know, it's not like a true... It's an RPG, but it's not like a true open world RPG, like where you can go anywhere. You know what I mean? It's got like a war map kind of travel system. I don't know, some people might be irked by that, but I'm one of those people that doesn't really care, so. Square Enix said the milestone includes both physical and digital sales, and PlayStation 5 physical sales for the game in UK were reportedly 74% lower than those of its predecessor, Final Fantasy 15. Still, Final Fantasy 16 was the top overall seller during its launch week. 3 million copies. Alright, wild. They said that this is probably one of the most best-selling games for PlayStation 5 so far, which is pretty good, actually. Starfield on an Xbox is getting a physical disc after all. I don't know why this freaking article exists, but it does. Apparently people are worried about the Starfield not getting a physical disc, but collectors rejoice, I guess. They have reason to be worried with all the digital stuff going on. It wouldn't be the first time that they launched a game without a disc. Starfield on Xbox is getting a physical disc edition, after all, according to Bethesda, who had caused confusion earlier in June by posting a tweet to the contrary. As reported by Eurogamer, a breakdown of the editions on Bethesda's website confirms that the game disc is included with the physical purchase of Xbox Standard Edition. As it should be. That should be like the base anymore. If they were sitting there causing confusion with the base edition of the game, I'm not having a disc. Anybody in the right mind would be upset about that. I would be. I'm a guy that likes his physical media, only because I don't trust online servers. Bethesda was met with backlash on June 25th after its support account on Twitter said that this wouldn't be the case, and just like the PC version of the physical copy of Starfield on Xbox would only include a digital code. PC is a different animal. I expect to buy it digitally through PC. Not my Xbox, not my PlayStation, assuming it's not going to be on PlayStation this time, but clear as day, I would be saying the same thing about that. The Constellation Edition, which costs $300, it comes with a real version of the in-game watch, a Constellation patch, and more. Won't have a physical disc, however. Even on Xbox, which have perhaps sparked some of the confusion. Why? You're paying $300 for the game. Why can't they give you a disc? That's dumb. The misinformation was believed to be too many given the industry's slow but sure shift to digital, with Alan Wake 2 perhaps being the first major release to not have a physical edition at all. A report from January 2023 also indicated that the digital sales account for the esteemed 90% of games sold in the UK in 2022. So, for those buying the collector's edition, just get just get the standard. Freaking worth it. I don't know why they're emitting discs anymore. It's insane. But yeah, it is some of this crazy stuff that came out of this whole freaking deal to begin, like the court case. And Microsoft was supposedly making some moves in the shadows to buy other studios, like the Final Fantasy maker Square Enix. This is getting wild, guys. Microsoft considered adding Final Fantasy publisher Square Enix to the Xbox Game Studios family, and new internal documents revealed. Keep in mind, I don't think they wanted any of this all to come out. YouTubers were talking about it the last couple days, and some of it's pretty freaking wild. Evidentiary hearing between Microsoft and the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. According to a new document from 2019 submitted as evidence as part of this is when the buying really started to kick off, so yeah, that's believable. Hearings, Microsoft listed several reasons why it should acquire Square Enix. This all includes bolstering Xbox's presence in Asian markets. They also tried to buy Sega, by the way, because they thought it would be a good fit for their Japanese portfolio, so they could get more share in Japanese market. Access to a Square Enix portfolio of games such as Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy. These franchises would drive to the adoption of Xbox Game Pass and Project Scarlet, one of the previous code names for the fourth generation of Xbox consoles, Microsoft said. More interestingly, the document reveals another reason Xbox should buy Square Enix. It also provided a mobile segment growth for the Xbox. Because they're really looking into that. Microsoft said buying Square Enix would have helped future mobile exclusive games offerings. Game Pass is currently available on a PC, Xbox, with games playable on mobile via the cloud. While Microsoft's presence in mobile is minimal, Square Enix has what Xbox described as a robust mobile narrative portfolio. And they also tried to buy Niantic, the creator of Pokemon Go. I'll get into that here in a second, but Sega considered buying Sega, IO Interactive, and Bungie. Although Bungie's off the table, obviously, for obvious reasons, Sony owns it, among several others, as it looked like to fill it in content gaps. So they were looking to buy. They were looking everywhere around them. They're I don't know. That's wild. Phil Spencer confirms that Microsoft tried to buy Zynga before Take-Two's acquisition. And they're another smaller one that does mobile games. I think other YouTubers have mentioned this, so I won't get into it. But wanted to expand in the mobile space, eventually turning its attention to Activision. Take-Two Interactive announced plans to acquire Zynga in 2022, but Xbox boss Phil Spencer has revealed Microsoft seriously considered buying the mobile game giant prior to that, and they eventually said, yeah, they kind of want to get something different. I think it was kind of like it fell through on Microsoft's side because it seemed like they were open to be purchased, but they didn't purchase them. During his cross-examination at today's Microsoft's FTC trial, Spencer talked about struggles in the mobile game business, saying Xbox has no strategy to win organically in mobile gaming. Spencer insisted mobile games don't want traditional Xbox consoles experiences, and console gamers aren't asking for the dedicated experience on mobile. Spencer revealed that the Microsoft tried to acquire Zynga to solve this problem, but the developer was acquired by Take-Two instead for $12.7 billion at the time. It was the largest game company acquisition in history. Spencer admitted Microsoft spent quite a bit of time working on a potential Zynga acquisition, but it turned out Microsoft wanted something even bigger to get started in the mobile business. November 2021, Microsoft's attention turned to Activision Blizzard acquisition. Spencer noted that Activision is the largest publisher of mobile content outside of China, thanks to King's existence franchise like Candy Crush. I spent time with the Amy Hood of the CFO of Microsoft to look at the mobile opportunities that were in the market, and Activision was the biggest publisher of mobile content, and it's all partner we know will get given a long history of working together, so we both had comfort with the studios and the teams, but most important was their portfolio and engagement they had on mobile. I don't know. Niantic was one of them, in which they have a history of working with the Pokemon Company in games. I think they worked on Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, though. Could be wrong. Like, I think they helped out with it. I've looked at their thing, but I didn't see anything on it. But I could swear when I fire up Diamond and Pearl remakes, I can see Niantic's emblem in there. So, if they bought like a company like Niantic, would they still work with the Pokemon Company and Game Freak? Don't know. I'm just something that goes in the back of my mind. I know they work on Pokemon Go, so there's that. In fact, they just started moving to more support for Pokemon Go as they lay off people. I just saw something on that recently. But it's possible, seeing as currently Game Freak is working with Take-Two Interactive on a game, so it wouldn't be the first time I've been surprised. Moving on here. Here's another article explaining Microsoft explored buying Sega, Bungie, Niantic, and the IO Interactive wanted to spend Sony out of business. That's the supposed thing that they one of the Satya Nadella and Microsoft Amy Hood requested approval to approach Sega, Sammy about a potential acquisition of Sega Gaming Studios, which I heard that Sega said that they're not selling or whatever. The email also references other companies and their ability to compete with Game Pass, but he said that Microsoft's content was a moat others could not cross. With Sony, the only real competitor in Game Pass, had a two-year and 10 million sub lead. Yeah, so Xbox has a real chance of dominating the live service market, and that's freaking Sony the hell out. I think you probably already heard that from other YouTubers, but Sony is shitting the bed right now with that. Because, like, it's not about Call of Duty. It's about Microsoft getting more share in the market for exclusive games and them bolstering Game Pass and taking this model to the next level. And Sony's freaking out about it, is what's happening, because they don't want to innovate. They from where they are right now, it's going to take them a lot. I wouldn't say they don't want to innovate. It's going to take them a lot more to get their live service up to in comparison to Microsoft's, because Microsoft is offering day one exclusive games on their platform, Game Pass day one, where Sony, it does have a service, but they're not offering some of the same like incentives that Microsoft is. So, obviously you can tell which one's the better deal between the two, and that's freaking them the heck out. Sony boss Jim Ryan, many publishers believe Xbox Game Pass is value destructive, and yeah, another dig at Xbox Game Pass, basically destroying value of, or destroying the way the gaming market as it stands like right now. You know what I mean? Like, they said the same thing about Netflix when Netflix was taking off, that it was going to destroy the movie industry, among other things. Well, yes, it kind of did and kind of didn't. It offered cheaper content, so you can argue and say, oh, well, movies and TV series aren't good anymore because the value, basically Netflix ruin the value of it. That's basically the same argument they were making back then. I can see how you can look at it that way, because games are a lot more money. They take a lot more when it comes to money to make. According to PlayStation boss Jim Ryan, video game publishers do not like the Xbox Game Pass, which, during his pre-recorded testimony for an evidentiary hearing between the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and Microsoft, Jim Ryan claimed publishers do not like Microsoft's video game subscription service because it is value destructive. Not liking something and, the inevitability of the market moving that way anyways, because, like, streaming is the fucking future anyways, are two completely different freaking things, but no, I can see how they look at it that way. Just before that Ryan claimed Game Pass is unprofitable for Microsoft. Game Pass business model appears to have some challenges, and Microsoft appears to be losing a lot of money on it. Ryan said, well, that's normally how services work. In the beginning, you throw money into a freaking furnace, and then you get paid back later for it. It's just an initial investment. The same thing happened with Netflix. In fact, I'd argue they're still throwing money into a furnace. But it's just the way services work like that. I mean, it's a constant money pit. The difference is Microsoft actually has the cash to pull it off, because they're a big conglomerate. As for comment, Xbox did not provide a direct statement, but did point to an Xbox Wire post claiming that every single Game Pass title announced at this year's Xbox Game Pass Game Showcase comes from a creator that has previously released a game with the service. Xbox CEO Phil Spencer, meanwhile, has been transparent about the game's profitability and sustainability in an interview with Axios last year. Spencer explained how the service was not burning cash and called it very, very sustainable. Well, yeah, as I said, Microsoft's probably one of the few companies that can handle a service like that. Because I'll tell you what, Netflix burns quite a bit of money. Sony accidentally reveals that Call of Duty is worth $800 million to PlayStation. An internal document from Sony revealed a ton of highly confidential information about its PlayStation brand, and more specifically, we learned a lot about Call of Duty revenues for PlayStation alone. And supposedly, 1 million people play only Call of Duty on their platform, apparently, from the redacted documents that they did not want it to get out. It's no surprise how popular Call of Duty is. The most recent installment in the franchise, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 2, it's basically the only freaking one I play when it comes to Call of Duty. Whenever a new one comes out. The fastest Call of Duty game to cross the 1 billion sold mark in 2022, but that's the only one thing that document reveals. We also learned how much 2 of PlayStation's first-party titles cost. Specifically, the document revealed how Horizon Forbidden West cost $212 million to make, and The Last of Us Part 2 had a budget of $220 million, and they definitely did not want that to get out. Because, more interestingly, according to Ryan, internal servers at Sony Interactive Entertainment claim that almost half of the US-based PS5 users also own a Nintendo Switch, while less than 20% of PS5 owners in the same country also own an Xbox Series X and S console. The Verge pointed out apparently 1 million PlayStation players play nothing but Call of Duty games. Yeah. Craziness. Nintendo plans to smooth transition from the Switch to the next console by using players' Nintendo accounts. So, from what it sounds like, their succeeding console, the one that comes after it's the one that Bobby Kotick basically all but confirmed to some degree. I mean, obviously there's going to be a next-gen Switch at some point. We all know that, but hearing it from somebody talking about it in the court when they're honor-bound to be honest about certain things is kind of like, I don't know, it says something to some degree. Nintendo has plans to give Switch players a smooth transition to its next console using a Nintendo account. So the account system is apparently going to stay the same and more easy to understand, because we already all know how it works at this point. So I have a feeling that any of their consoles after this are going to be more smooth, kind of like successions to each other. They're kind of not going to be like Nintendo has a history of doing something completely different every generation. It doesn't seem like it may be like that this time around, you know what I mean? They're going to continue with the same model. Forza Horizon 1 and 2 servers will shut down in August, so it's kind of inevitable that this was going to happen. The single-player content will still be playable, so This is for online service. Turn 10 has announced that it'll be shutting down Forza Horizon 1 and 2 online service on August 22nd, 2023. Online functionality such as matchmaking leaderboards as browsing downloading online server-generated content won't be available after the shutdown date. This content includes liveries, vinyls, tuning setups, photos, and however single-player experience in both games will remain playable. Turn 10 notes that the reason the closure was that both games have very small player population. Additionally, due to the age of these games and their services, access to online functionality even before August 22nd isn't guaranteed. So 3, 4, and 5 are the only current ones with the online services now, which kind of makes sense. So The Sims 5 will apparently be a live service and seemingly adopt a Fortnite monetization model, which I didn't play Fortnite enough to care, so I have no idea what that means. EA will seemingly make the PlayStation 5 or Project Rene, as it's currently officially known, as a free-to-play game that allows user-generated content and monetization model similar to Fortnite's. As reported by Sims Community, EA posted a job listing for a head of marketplace and monetization for Project Rene, which described it as a free-to-enter game. The candidate will own pricing of all content in the free-to-enter game, ensuring we have the optimal pricing content architecture. Provide guidance to the content teams on it, and in-game content needs to meet player demand. I don't know. I would just buy Sims 4 at this point. Live services can bite the bullet, in my opinion. But if any game is going to be doing a live service that effectively you're already spending live service money for all its expansion packs, Sims 5 would be one of them. Please just go ahead and do it. There's a reason I don't play Sims as much anymore. It's basically the same. You're wasting your life away in a simulation, it kind of feels like to me, and you're kind of just living life in a Sims universe, I don't know. And it's just kind of like the same thing over and over again in my mind, but that's just me. I used to play it a lot when I was younger. Star Wars Eclipse shooting for 2026 launch report. Developer Quantum Dream originally unveiled the game back in 2021. It looks like Star Wars Eclipse is still far, far away. I like the pun there. A new report about the game from developer Quantum Dream states that the studio is currently trying to stay on target for a 2026 launch. They also said it was probably going to end up... It could end up being later than that. But Inside Gaming notes that even 2026 might end up being too optimistic. There you go. With potential Star Wars Eclipse to arrive later than that Inside Gaming added. The sources behind this launch window also tipped off NetEase acquiring Quantum Dream months ago before it became official. So they got bought out. One major reason highlighted in the report Star Wars Eclipse far off release in the report relates to Quantum Dream's issues of hiring on new staff. According to it, the studio is still facing blowback after the allegation of service regarding a poor work culture and sexual harassment. Activision. In a statement shared with GameSpot, however, Quantum Dream says its Paris and Montreal offices have grown by 50% since 2021 and noted that the Paris count of appeals dismissed allegations against the studio in 2021. It's one of the games I'm actually looking forward to, though I kind of didn't expect to get it anytime soon, along with the remake of KOTOR, the first one, which I have no idea what's happening with that anymore, as any YouTuber will tell you at this point. But, yeah, so, sweetness. So, any news I don't get here, I'll post on my Twitter, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description below. Drop me a like and subscribe. If you like my videos, please ring the bell, I'd greatly appreciate it. Any news I don't get here, I'll post on my Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the next video.